Well, welcome everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Jackie O'Connor and I've founded and am the CEO of registered charity Heart Place Hospital. If you haven't heard of Heart Place Hospital, it's a sanctuary dedicated to caring for carers with a mission to rise the energy of frontline workers and create a positive ripple effect throughout our society. So by offering innovative wellness programs, therapies and support, we empower those who serve our communities to heal, thrive and continue their vital work. Our integrative approach ensures that the wellbeing of our frontline heroes are nurtured, ultimately benefiting everyone that they touch. So welcome to Heart Place Hospital's special event today, The Power of Havening, Transforming Trauma and Stress. And you're joining us today at lunchtime for an hour of connection, compassion and healing, because we understand that our experiences shape who we are, how we connect and how we feel about ourselves, especially for our frontline workers, because we face very unique challenges on the daily. So today I'm really excited to welcome experienced midwives, Dee Dawson and Christine Miller, and they're going to be introducing the Havening technique. So it's a neuroscience-based therapy designed to help transform trauma and stress. So I invite you to settle in and prepare for a transformative session, and because help is here. So welcome to you, Dee and Christine.
Oh, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Jackie.
We're so excited to be here. It is such a joy to see your faces on my screen, even though they're little at the moment because I've got my other screen in front of me. Jackie, we just wanted to say thank you so much for hosting us. You know, we love your passion and your drive, and we love your charity, obviously, and we're really grateful to be here and to have this opportunity. I'd also just like to say that there may be things that come up for people today because we all have stuff. You know, we all have stuff in our lives, and you know, I have to say that and 90% of who we are today is made up of all of the events and experiences that we bring with us to this point. And so hang in there with us. Christine and I are going to give you some tools, and we want you to leave today. This is our aim, is for you to leave today feeling peaceful and calm and happy. So let's get started. We'll just go very briefly through who we are. What Havening is, who can benefit, a little bit about the science. We're going to share a couple of case studies from people that we have cared for. We're going to do a couple of self-havening exercises, and then hopefully we'll have some time at the end for some questions. So this is me, and I am Dee. I've been a midwife for a long time now. The previous roles that have meant the most to me really is I've done lots of coaching of young midwives, mentorship of young midwives, and I had a role as a vulnerable families coordinator, which was very dear to my heart, but a very, very difficult job to do. Had some time with Christine. We met. We were both maternity quality and safety coordinators, so working with the Ministry of Health to try and ensure safety, which was mainly physical and medical safety, not emotional safety. So that was an interesting journey. I have done a postgrad diploma in psychotherapy and trained in Havening last May. I'm currently working part-time as a diabetes midwife. I have a small postnatal caseload, so I do still look after mamas after they've come home with their new babies. Obviously, I am a current Havening practitioner certified. And, oh, the bottom of my screen's dropped off. I am also certified in professional supervision, which is something that is quite a structured approach to caring for people in their workplace, essentially. Handing over to you, Christine. Here we go.
Thank you. And so awesome to thank you, Jackie, for the opportunity. Thank you for being here, everyone. And also welcome big welcome to people watching this on the recording as well. So it's fantastic to be here. We are so excited by this. So a little bit about me. I was originally a nurse, got a nursing background. Gynecology took me into midwifery and been a midwife for over 30 years. I've been keeping out of trouble with a variety of roles. This is what I've been doing most recently. I got myself, well, I say out of trouble, maybe into trouble, I don't know, with a Master of Health Science and a Doctor of Health Science. Since then, I've been involved in a couple of other research studies, both of them around birth trauma and fear of birth, which I'm hugely passionate about. The longer I'm in this beautiful profession, the more I realize the absolute centrality of the mind-body connection. Every year that goes by, I can just see how important that is, you know, for labour and birth and for everything, you know, with health and well-being. So yeah, so it's an absolute joy to be doing this. And it was actually all of this put together and the passion for sort of birth trauma, fear of birth, that took me to find out about havening. I heard about it, and this anaesthetist who taught us, Robin, said it is the most extraordinary thing he has ever seen, and I just thought, I have to get a piece of this for myself, and it absolutely is the most extraordinary thing. He was right. I'm blown away. I'm not easily impressed, but whoa, I'm blown away by this, and so an absolute joy to be doing this. It's brought real joy into my life. Yeah, so we'll just move on to the next slide, and we're just going to tell you a little bit about what havening is. So it's called a psychosensory touch therapy. So there is some talking and there is some touch in specific areas of the body on where we know that the fibers, the C-tactile fibers that generate the delta waves and all the other goodies are in abundance. But Dee's going to talk a little bit more about that later. This is very much based on neuroscience. So the fact that it's got that strong science underpinning and it's evidence-based was a real draw for myself and Dee. That was very important to us. It was initially called amygdala depotentiation therapy, which is absolutely what it's doing, but a bit of a mouthful. So they decided to call it havening because it's actually bringing the person into a safe place, a safe haven. And actually in doing it, what it's doing, it's sending a message to the brain, particularly the amygdala, to say, hey, you know what? Around this subject, I'm absolutely safe. There's no longer any threat, and you don't need to keep warning me so loudly about that threat because it's gone. I'm safe. And that's really how it works. It was founded by two incredible doctors in the US. We've recently been to meet them in New York. They are phenomenal. Twin boys, and we've both got twin boys, so that's really cool. One of them was a chemist and a neurologist. The other one a biologist and a dentist. So quite a combination together. They were both working, obviously, with people with fear and trauma, and they really wanted to better understand how they could help people to resolve this. So between them, they've done 15 years of research. There's a PhD in there as well. They really dug deep into the evidence, the empirical evidence, the anecdotal evidence. They did research. They had people in labs with EEGs on them to try and work out, kind of what was going to work, what was going to generate these waves, how to best do it. And then havening, or initially amygdala depotentiation therapy, was born. Yeah, that's a little bit about that. So we'll go on to the next slide. There are other psychosensory therapies. So just to position havening in amongst them, here are a few of the others. Havening is most sort of related to EMDR. So it works in a similar way to EMDR, so eye movement desensitization reprocessing. But so it uses the delta waves and all the other goodies to resolve the fear, the trauma, the anxiety. But it's much more gentle. Yeah, but it works in a sort of biochemically, it works in a similar way. So this is a tool that can work alongside other therapies in the kitty, or it can be a standalone tool. So we see lots of people who are also having seen psychologists, counsellors. It doesn't have to be a one or the other thing. It can walk alongside beautifully alongside other modalities, or it can just be used just on its own. Either way, we use it on its own alongside expertise and insights in relation to midwifery and women's health and well-being, and that's how we use it with women and their families. But yeah, it can work absolutely in partnership with other modalities. And the great thing is, as well as a facilitated session, you can have little top-up sessions that you do yourself, so you can do it on the go. So if things pop up in your day that you'd really rather not feel, you can do the self-havening and help yourself. And so we're going to give you those tools, as Dee said today, and we're going to give you a couple of strategies that will help you to be kind to your mind. Now, this works really well for people who have got traumatic memories, have had traumatic events happen in their lives, for post-traumatic stress disorder, so the ripple effects of those traumatic events. Works incredibly well for phobias and fears, for sort of negative self-belief or low self-worth. So not only can it help resolve, trauma, but it can also help resolve negative belief and put beautiful things back in. It can help with workplace trauma, stress, burnout, and we're seeing a lot of that in frontline workers, and we're working with them. It can help with depression and anxiety, even if the person doesn't know where the anxieties come from. We can help with that. We are particularly specialising, just because of our backgrounds, with women and their whānau who have experienced traumatic things in their life, or they've experienced birth trauma, they've got a fear of birth, they've had struggles with infertility, with perinatal loss. So really working alongside that women's health, that childbirth continuum. But we've found ourselves doing, and obviously working with frontline workers, we're really passionate about that, about sort of giving back. But we're working with women and men and some teenagers and some children with a really wide variety of trauma, fear, PTSD, anxiety. For example, we're seeing people with childhood traumas, which have had ripple effects, obviously long beyond that. They've been carrying these traumas for their whole life. Like, for example, I've just been working with a woman who's in her 70s. And the trauma that she experienced while she was a child, she has carried this all through her life, and it's had quite significant ripple effects, and it's really, really sad. But the great thing is now she's really resolving that, which is incredible. We've worked with people with sexual trauma, relationship breakups, work stress, all kinds of things. Needle phobias, fear of flying, fear of medical procedures, fear of birth, all kinds of fears. I've worked with teenagers and children. They don't even have to tell us what the problem is. Some of them don't want to. Obviously, they might be embarrassed. They might feel they can't say because they're too traumatized. It still works because we can guide them to the core of the bit we need to work on, and providing the person can bring those feelings back when we ask them to, it can work without them even telling us what the problem is, which is fantastic. We're also working with lots of people with the ripple effects of anxiety and depression, and there's really a lot of people feeling this. Sometimes it's secondary to previous life traumas. Sometimes they don't know where, like I said, but we can still help them. I just wanted to give you a little example, quite an unusual example, really, about how I've had it done. And to be honest, I couldn't believe, I was in such disbelief about what had happened that it took me a few seconds to grasp it, because I broke my ankle in the most dramatic way, coming out of the spa pool backwards. I know what you're thinking, there was no wine involved. In fact, if there had been wine, I think I'd have probably fallen a bit better than I did. So I slipped on the tiles and I just really did it. I broke my ankle in two places, shattered the ligaments, and it was all a bit dramatic. So I carried on with my healing journey after I came out the cast, and I had to start walking, and it's dreadful. And I was doing it, and I was putting loads of effort in, and walking 6 kilometers a day. But every time, I'd walk, it would sore and stiff. Even though a few months had passed since I'd done it, I was a bit limpy. It was stiff. It was sore. If it went on its side, it was really sore. And I thought, crikey, I'm going to be left with this. This is hideous. I didn't think for 1 minute that my emotional healing hadn't happened. It didn't enter my head. I was far too busy for that, trying to, work, be a mum, all these things that we do as women. We're crazy, aren't we? And, I would just go. Didn't think about that. Didn't think about me. But every time I looked outside at the spa, I'd think, oh God, I'd remember, it'd flash back, and I'd remember myself on the floor, nearly fainting, just awful. And I said that to my husband, those child have got to go. I can't look at them anymore. So it's all beautifully taken out. It's a shame you've got to throw yourself on the floor to get the deck that you want. But anyway, we won't digress. I had the havening done for the trauma of the accident, because I kept thinking about it, and sometimes I'd wake up in the night and I'd remember it, and I'd think, oh God, that's awful, and then I couldn't get back to sleep because my ankle was so sore. I had it done, and I thought, I couldn't believe it. Robin took me through, and he said, look back and at the incidents. What can you see, and what do you feel? How distressed do you feel? And I thought, this can't be right. Like I don't feel any distress, but that can't be right. And I said, well, I don't feel any. And it's strange, but when I looked at myself on the floor, which is what I kept remembering when I looked out at the back of the house, or I felt so disconnected from what had happened. It was almost like it wasn't me. It was a real emotional disconnect. And after that, I went home and I stopped thinking about it. And I thought, oh, this is cool. I haven't got to keep reminding myself. I stopped waking up at night, and I thought, yes, that's a win. But then the most amazing thing was that my healing just went whoosh. I could walk further, it didn't hurt. I could go on the side, it didn't hurt. And I think what was happening was, because I was thinking, oh, the bone snapped, because I kept hearing that snap, and that's what I haven't. I heard the bone snap at the time, I kept hearing the sound, and it made me think, oh God. And then I'd think probably, oh, I've got to protect it because it snapped. So I wasn't pushing myself. So after this, I was climbing up hills, I was going up steps, and it didn't hurt. And so I'm absolutely so impressed to say that it really helped my healing beyond anything I could have imagined. Even though I put a lot of effort into the physical healing, I hadn't healed emotionally, and it was this that made the difference. So I'm an absolute advocate for this, for so many different things.
Such a beautiful story, Christine. I love hearing that one.
So cool.
I was literally sitting alongside Christine when this happened to her, and it was quite remarkable because she was such a skeptic beforehand.
I actually was. I wanted to believe, but until that happened, I was actually blown away. And
it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
All right, let's talk a little bit about why this works. So why does this happen to us? So normal memories are kept in the hippocampus. Traumatic memories, or things that happen to us that are quite frightening, they are stored in the amygdala, that tiny little green thing that you can see there. It's a deeply primitive part of our brain that has been in existence since humans have been around. The amygdala acts, it's the emotional center, but it acts also, it's like our mama bear. Right. And in fact, one of our gorgeous colleagues, who is our lead science advisor for havening.org, she calls it Amy, affectionately. She calls her Amy. So what happens is that when something frightening happens to us, our brain takes an image using every single sense that we have, and it sends information to Amy to protect us for the future. Sorry, I'm just looking down. The reason our brain stores this memory in this way is that it's intricately intertwined with our parasympathetic nervous system and our sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the one that makes us want to punch someone in the face or run like hell when we are in danger. So it serves us well if there really is a bear coming to eat us. But if we're just going about our day-to-day lives and we just happen to be in the supermarket and something triggers us, it's not very helpful. We often use the analogy of a car accident, which of course can be utterly terrifying. And because all of your senses are involved when the accident happens, it may be that for years afterwards, every time you smell petrol or hear the screech of tires or see a car speeding up next to you, your sympathetic nervous system, Amy, is activated and she's trying to keep you safe. She only cares about your survival. She doesn't care that you are late for work and you're trying to concentrate on the road. So she is the one that then makes you think about or be reminded of the initial episode that it initially was encoded in your brain in the first place. Now, traumas can seem really insignificant at the time. We're finding that people go to really interesting places when we start being detectives with them to try and find out where their traumas came from in the first place. And it can be something as simple as tumbling in the waves and losing your footing at the beach when you're a kid and feeling just for a split second like it's all over and you're going to die. Or something as simple as being a little kid. Mum, you're only 3 or 4 years old and mum's gone to hospital to have another baby and you get left with a grumpy auntie and you're not very happy and feeling bereft and abandoned, and stuff like this stays with us because when we are really little, we have no control over what's happening to us and our little brain is really vulnerable. Traumas, of course, can also be huge. And Christine and I have the privilege of seeing and treating people who are putting their trust in us with really enormous things, like traumatic grief and sexual harm, and certainly a lot of workplace bullying and people who have a history of violence in the home, whether it's emotional or physical. So as Christine alluded to, these amazing doctors, these fabulous 2 men, decided that they wanted to figure out what actually happens to our brains when we are traumatized. And as Christine also said, we had the privilege of meeting with them, and Ron started this journey. He is the neuroscientist, and he gave us a beautiful presentation, and he calls it his quest. And it's a lifelong quest. And his vision for the future is that this is everywhere. So the 2 brothers spent lots of time together. Steve told us that he and Ron would spend hours on the phone every night after work, celebrating the things that they were learning and being really excited for the future. So what the boys really studied was obviously the neuroscience of touch, trauma in the neural pathway, and they discovered that the C-tactile fibers in our skin has this amazing ability to produce beneficial neurochemicals and also at the same time produce some very calming brain waves. So when we are traumatized, we don't have a logical sense of what's going on. This happens 4 times faster than the blink of an eye. So if you think about someone perhaps again who is afraid of flying, it doesn't matter how often you say to yourself, the planes are well maintained, these pilots know what they're doing, planes fly millions of times all over the world and nothing bad happens. Because your trauma was encoded very, very quickly right at the very beginning, you have no way of being logical and getting yourself out of that state of panic. And so it's not your fault. That's the biggest thing. Oops, that's the wrong one. So the chemicals that are produced by the touch of our skin, you will recognize them, I'm sure. Serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin is our particularly beautiful one. That's a love drug. We produce that when we have sex, and we produce lots of it when we are bonding with our beautiful new babies. as new parents. GABA is a neurotransmitter that many people haven't heard of. It stands for gamma aminobutyric acid, and it calms nerve cell hyperactivity associated with anxiety, stress, and fear. When we are in a fear state, our brain produces these gamma waves, the ones that you can see at the top. And if you could put a microphone inside your brain, it would be very noisy. They're very rapid and very frantic. The delta waves, the complete opposite of that, of course, at the bottom, are waves that we produce when we stimulate our skin. And the alpha and theta waves, you often see when people have got EEG monitors on, you can see that they are producing those in a meditative state. And many of us know all about beautiful meditation because we do it.
So havening, in a nutshell, it's just we gently, this is a facilitated havening session. So we gently activate the trauma or bring back that feeling. When we get to the core of what the distress is, what we call an encoding moments. And that's where we come in, that's what we help with. And so, and basically, we do the havering touch, which generates all of the goodies, which sends an electrochemical message to the amygdala to say, I'm safe, there's no longer a threat, you don't have to keep warning me, you don't have to keep shouting so loud, because it's those ripple effects, like Dee said. If there is a danger and we need to get away, that's really handy. But in everyday life, and we're constantly being triggered by things, that can be really inconvenient and can obviously lead to anxiety and can really affect our health and well-being. So sometimes people, we've not wiped their memory, absolutely. I mean, the memory still stays, but sometimes there's always an emotional disconnect from the memory, which obviously helps you disconnect from it. The havening disconnects, separates electrochemically the actual message from the ripple effects. So you will remember it, the memory, but you won't keep getting the ripple effects from it. You won't keep getting triggered. But sometimes there's a distance from it. Sometimes you think it's not you anymore when you look back. And sometimes it looks different. It's been amazing to work with people. And sometimes they say, well, the room was dark and it was scary, but actually, no, it looks light, or it actually a person that had caused them abuse and they kept seeing them in their mind, and now they're no longer there. Incredible what the brain can do. It's actually incredible. But also, sometimes people say, well, wow, this trauma was filling my brain before the havening, and afterwards it's just outside of the head, or it felt like it was right up in my face, but now it's miles away. So yeah, it alters how we perceive it, and also obviously how we respond to it, which is fantastic.
So obviously you can see that there are many ways that havening can help. To Christine and I, it's just this beautiful combination of science, compassion, and love for the person sitting in front of us. So one of the ways that we help is we use something called facilitated havening, which is different to self-havening, where people come into our clinic and we work personally with them to resolve any issues that they may have. I've listed 5 of the most amazing things about facilitated havening and the work that we do. So one, it is very effective and works quickly compared with other therapies. Obviously, complex trauma takes a lot longer, but something as simple as a needle phobia can really be resolved in only 1 session, which makes it fabulous for people who actually can't commit to having endless talk therapy. Working content-free is a real bonus for us when we are working with our own colleagues. Sometimes our work colleagues don't actually want to tell us what has happened to them. And this, often we work with teens as well, and they don't really want to share what happened with them either, but they don't need to. What the third thing I've listed here is that there's a lot of evidence that sitting and talking about your story is actually quite re-traumatizing. And again, it's not necessary to do that with havening. All we need to do is sit together and work together to find the moments where you may have had an encoding moment in your brain and work there. You don't have to sit and dwell in it for session after session. The therapy itself is very gentle and it is fun. And as Christine's already alluded to, it can also help if something has happened. We know something has happened, but we don't actually know what it was, or we don't have an actual proper memory of it. And I'm often remember my dear dad who hated hospitals. He would only go into one if it was absolutely necessary. And I think really the only time he ever went into a hospital is if myself or my sister had a baby, or when he needed to go into hospital himself. He would just stay away. And it wasn't until I'd done the havening training that I kind of had to think about it and realized that he had had scarlet fever when he was a little boy. Had a scar on his back, actually. And, you know, in those days, my mother-in-law tells me, because she was in hospital as a child as well, in those days, you didn't have your mum and dad with you. And you might have had, I think, an hour or two on a Sunday afternoon where mum and dad could visit. So these poor little kiddies were left on their own for, and that must have been terribly traumatizing. So, you know, it's really interesting when you start learning about this therapy and talking to people and trying to figure out why we feel the way that we do. So self-havening, which is the reason we're here today, on the other hand, is quite different. It's quite different to than having a session with a certified practitioner. It's not a recommended pathway for complex trauma or for a significant event that you would like to resolve. However, it's extremely useful for managing stress on the go. It can be used as a self-therapy to build resilience and well-being, and many people use it like a daily meditation. Or if they've got a big day ahead of them, or they're about to sit an exam, or if they're about to give a presentation about havening to 20 people that they haven't met before. The three areas of the brain, of our skin, that we now know are incredibly receptive to therapeutic touch are the palms of our hands. And we often see people doing this, again, before a job interview. If they're a little bit anxious, they might be rubbing their arms, you know, their hands up and down their pants. We do it instinctively. The second area is the tops of our arms. Now, if you tested the bottoms, nothing would happen. The bottoms of your arms, not a thing. But the tops of our arms, from the tips of your shoulders down to your elbows, are very receptive to therapeutic touch. And again, this is where we go. This is an instinctive place of empathy when we go when our best mate's upset. The third area, as you can see, lovely Karina on the beautiful redhead on your slide, she has got she's doing face havening. So the two areas above your eyes and across your brows. Interestingly, when they measure brain waves on the EEG, this is the place that produces the most delta waves. And instinctively, this is where we go on our pets and when our children, when our babies are sick or upset. So we're going to do a little practice in a little while. We're going to do some lovely havening together. But I wanted to, Christina and I both wanted to share a couple of real case studies with you because that's fun. And it's really lovely to hear about real people. So Mia is a colleague of mine who I didn't know very well, but she'd heard about what Christine and I were doing. And she'd be, I don't know, in her late 50s and really thought she had her shit together. She was coming to the end of an 8-year relationship with a partner, and there was a property involved. They jointly owned a property in Whitianga. And by the way, Mia has given permission for us to share the story. I have given her a fake name. And she would have actually liked to have joined us today, but she doesn't like public speaking, so she decided not to. So she came to see me because her now she was splitting up with this guy, and he had threatened to take her to court. And when those words left his mouth, she was instantly triggered, because an ex-husband who she had had a very volatile relationship with, who was both physically and emotionally abusive, had used exactly those same words many years ago when he was threatening to take her to court and he was leaving her. So she came to see me and she had this session with me. Oh, I had it written down and I don't know what I've done with it. No, I have lost it. She sent me this text message after her first session, and it said something like this: "Hi Dee, really enjoyed our session, but I did something really uncharacteristic afterwards for me. And I went to my lawyer and I told him that I was going to stop paying the mortgage on the house. He needs my money. I don't need him. I don't care anymore. I need to live my life the way I want to live my life. And so I am pulling out. And I have booked a trip to Vietnam. I'm going to go on a motorbike tour and I'm leaving next week. Live your life to the absolute full, ! By the way, is Havening supposed to do this? Ha, ha, ha." Just laughed and laughed and laughed. So she disappeared off to Vietnam. I taught her some self-havening before she went, and she got in touch with me again when she came home, and she has not stopped havening since we had our session. She havened on the back of the motorbike her whole way around Vietnam. She tells me she has very strong thigh muscles. And she said every time she felt like she had anything coming up around what was happening with him, she would just haven herself, reassure her little Amy, the amygdala, that everything is okay. She did lots and lots of reassurance and lots and lots of powerful affirmations herself. And she had some really interesting realizations herself, all on her own, about the relationship that her mother had had with her stepfather and how awful that was, and how reminiscent it was of the relationship she now had with this guy. From a global perspective, now that she's home, she came back feeling like $1 million. But now when he gets in touch with her, she reacts completely differently to how she would have before. She does not react. She stands her ground. She doesn't get upset. She gives him the facts as they are. And she says that she feels so free. Her life has completely changed. And that's literally over the course of 2 months. And she's done all of that work herself because her brain is so amazing and all she needed was the tools. So that's Mia's story.
So cool. So cool. And I've got one from someone I've been working with quite recently, and we'll call her Kimmy. Kimmy is in her 30s. She's a mother of one 5-year-old daughter. She contacted me because she was finding motherhood quite difficult. She felt that she didn't bond with her daughter initially, and she was finding her behavior really difficult at the daughters. So she was finding herself getting really aggravated, really annoyed very easily. She would have flashbacks still to her birth, which was 5 years before. She carried that all around. It keeps nudging her, keeps giving her flashbacks periodically. And she was terrified to have another baby, but she didn't want this child to be an only child. So she lost patience very, very easily with her daughter, and she had very low energy as well. So we talked about the birth a little bit. We found the point for her, which was the most distress. It wasn't what actually she initially thought it would be, because she lost a lot of blood, and she'd been she'd had a lot of treatment around that, but actually it wasn't that. It was a time where when it all started to happen, when she felt that there were people talking in the room to each other but not to her, that might sound like something small in comparison to everything else that happened to her, but to her it was that. It was when we went through it, it was that. So we havened that. What was also before we did the havening, she told me that she'd had to go back to the hospital. Sorry, I forgot this bit. She'd had to go back to the hospital when her child needed a procedure. And she hated going to the hospital, and she'd drive. If she had to drive anywhere near the hospital, she felt triggered. So she'd feel anxious, she'd get sweaty palms, high heart rate, rapid breathing, knot in her stomach, the whole 9 yards. And she'd actually drive quite a long way to avoid being near to the hospital because she didn't want that feeling. So when she had to go back in with her child, she said it was absolutely horrendous. She felt like she couldn't get out of the car. Her legs were wobbly when she walked in. She was having flashbacks from her birth. She was getting angry, really angry and agitated with the staff, which isn't her at all. She's the most gentle, calm, beautiful woman. It was really out of character, but she was angry and agitated. And that's because she was being triggered. That's the fight and flight that was triggering her. So it was really incredible to see that after this havening session, she looked back at this time of the birth and she said that she felt so distant from it. It was almost like it wasn't her. This real emotional disconnect, which always happens. The really cool thing that before, when she looked, that she saw the scene, which wasn't very nice. When she looked now after the havening, all she focused in on was her baby's face, just her baby's face. And she'd had all these difficulties with bonding with the baby and that relationship with the child. So that was really incredible to see. And she said to me, it was so funny, she said, "Oh my God, have you put a spell on me?" And I was wearing a long black dress, but really that was where it ended. That was just where it ended. There was no spell. Anyway, this lovely woman texted me a few weeks later, so excited. And she said that she'd felt incredible. She was no longer getting agitated with her daughter's behaviour. I mean, we all do that a little bit. That's just human, that the children are sent to do that. But she was, hers was really elevated. She wasn't feeling that anymore. She felt the relationship was different, but her she couldn't believe it because she'd had a little bit of an accident. She'd had to go back to the hospital that she'd avoided with such, vigor beforehand. So she had to go in and she couldn't believe it that nothing happened. She parked the car, walked in, no ill effects at all, walked into the building, no wobbly legs, no high heart rate, no flashbacks, had the treatment, went home, nothing happened. And that's how it works. That's what it can do. And she was a very happy woman.
Thanks, Christine. So obviously we wanted to give you some tools today to take away with you. And so this exercise that we're going to do is a great one if you just need some rapid calm in your life. We teach this to our colleagues who are frontline workers, but actually it is useful anywhere, anytime for anybody. It combines a little bit of breath work plus some down regulation of your brain state. So it can be anything that is giving you some feelings of overwhelm, it is useful for. So for this exercise, we're not working with any real emotions just now, but we're going to do it together so you can see how easy it is and how it feels. So feel free to start havening in any way that you feel comfortable. Hands are a great place to start. Remember, there's shoulders to the elbows and anywhere on your face. You can take your glasses off if you need to. And the idea is that you rotate or you move around the areas, just whatever makes you comfortable. Some people only like one area, so they just stick with that. It really doesn't matter. All you're wanting to do is to stimulate these delta waves. So imagine that you're feeling overwhelmed for whatever reason. It's super easy to do this exercise in your car, in the bathroom, or hiding in the garden shed, if that's what you need to do. So you start straight away with the havening touch. And it's important at the beginning to notice the emotion, regardless of what it is. Like, God, I'm angry, or man, I'm so upset. And it's important that you think about that emotion and give it as sort of a number on a scale of 1 to 10. Like 0 is the least, the calmest you could be, and 10 is just like off the Richter. And so where are you sitting? Are you at a 4, at a 7? It's your number. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's important that you kind of notice it. So once you've given yourself a number, we're just going to do some breath work. And I want you to start by breathing in for the count of 2. So we're going to go in, 1, 2, pause, in again, 1, 2 on top of the first breath, and then sigh out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do it again. Breathe in for 1, 2, pause for 1, breathe in again, 1, 2, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make as much noise as you like. You're all on mute. So you're going to repeat this 3 to 5 times. Keep havening the whole time. And after you've done it 3 to 5 times, check in with yourself. Where are you on that scale now? What number are you at? If you're not happy if you're not happy, you're not calm, we're going to go to the next phase, and we're going to count out loud from 50 down to 0 in 2s. Maths is not my strong point. Please do not judge me. Let's go. 50, 48, 46, 44, 42, 40, 38, 36, 34, 32, 30, 28, 26, 24, 22, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Beautiful. Keep havening. Now look around you and name 4 things that are green. I've got a plant, a pillow, another plant, and a sweater. Then name 3 things that are blue. I've got a washing basket, discarded something on an ironing board, and a book. And 2 things that are red. Have a look around you. What can you see that's red? I've got a couple of things, some red in a painting and the rim of my glasses. So keep going. I'd like you to choose your favorite place. You can close your eyes for this one if you want to, and if you're comfortable. I'm going to go to the beach. People choose the bush. Other people choose something that's personal to them, anywhere you like. We're going to count our steps. I'm going to count my steps walking along the beach. Just up to 20. Look down and plant your feet in the sand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Just take a moment to look around in your mind's eye. What can you hear? What can you see? Is the sun on your face? Can you smell the sea or the earth? Use your imagination in your favorite place. And lastly, we're just going to do 2 more breaths. These are called box breaths, where we are counting in 4s. We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and pause for 4. So I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to go in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. And pause, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. And breathe normally. So now it would be the time to check in with yourself again and notice how you're feeling after doing that set of what we call distractions. And just before we finish, I just want to use a beautiful mantra that we use in the havening world often, and I want you to repeat it after me. It's only 3 lines. I open my mind to learning. I open my heart to friendship. I choose to feel safe, peaceful, and calm. Now you can rest. So just to summarize that, oh, that feels really nice. Just to summarize that, the point that I've made, and you could do a screenshot of this if you want to remember it for later. You notice the feeling. How bad is it? Self-haven. Distract your brain, check in. Keep self-havening, distract your brain, check in, and repeat if necessary. And the idea is that you tailor this to your own loves, whatever you love to do. If you're really distressed, start with some counting, because it really distracts your brain really, really quickly and really easily. You can do silly things like spelling words backwards and forwards. Imagine yourself playing games if you're a sports person. Do repetitive things in your mind that are easy for you to repeat, like emptying the dishwasher. Name things in different colors. Sometimes it's nice to just try and do 2 things from every color of the rainbow. A to Z games are fabulous. Boys' names, girls' names, musical bands. Done that before. That's so much fun. And actually humming uses a very different part of our brain. So if you've got some favorite music, hum the chorus to your favorite song. And if that's not working, if you're too distressed, just hum Happy Birthday. Just go to something that's simple. But it's really nice if you think about this before you need it. So I'm going quite fast because I'm aware of the time.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go fast too. We'd like you to have as many delta waves as is humanly possible in this session to leave you feeling fantastic for the rest of the day. So I'm now going to take you through a really relaxing self-havening, another self-havening exercise using colour and a cauldron. So, so if you'd like to start self-havening, we'll all do it together. So we want you to self-haven all the way through. And just really relax as much as you can and really just try and sink into it. So we'll start self-havening now. If you feel that you can close your eyes, you know, we really encourage you to do that because we find that the experience is really a lot deeper. So together we're going to take 3 long, slow breaths in and out just to really sink into this. Just really find this the right space. So a big breath in, just hold for a few seconds, and a big breath out. Just while you keep havening, 2 more deep breaths. Big breath in. Just hold that breath for a few seconds, and exhale. And then 1 more big breath in. Hold that breath and then just exhale, and then just keep havening, keep breathing gently. Keep your eyes closed if you can. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your body on the chair. Just sink right down into this and relax. Now I'd like you to think of something that's happened recently that's mildly distressing. We don't want you bringing something awful up, just something mildly distressing. So maybe something annoying at work, or an argument with your children, or someone's cut you up on the road, just something minor. When you've got that, I just want you to think about it and just let it circulate around your body. Just sit with it, not for long. You won't have to sit with it for long, but just sit with the feeling, with the emotion that that's giving you. And just feel that feeling and emotion just going round your body, right down through your head, right down your back, your torso, your arms, to your fingers. Just feel it. Become aware of it. Right down your legs, into your feet, to your toes. And I want you to give it a colour that you feel represents that feeling, that emotion. Doesn't matter what colour it is. Give it a colour and feel and see that colour all around your body. And then you're going to get that external to your body now. So you're going to offload it. So I want you to visualize a big black witchy cauldron in front of you. Big pot thing. And it's going to hold all of that emotion. Look at the cauldron and offload all of this feeling that you'd rather not have. All of it. Externalize it from your body and fill the cauldron. Don't leave any behind in your body. Get it all in the cauldron, and then we're going to deal with it. Keep breathing nice and steady. Stay nice and relaxed, and keep on havening. No rules with the havening. Do it. You can do the same area, or you can rotate. It doesn't matter. It just as long as you do it, and we just keep those delta waves coming. So look down at the cauldron. Now you've got this colour in the cauldron. It might be bubbling. It might be slimy. You can see the colour of that feeling and that emotion that you didn't want. And get yourself a stirrer, a big wooden spoon or a spade or a paddle. And you're going to start to stir it. And what I want you to imagine is there's this big, beautiful jug next to the cauldron, a big pot jug. And it's got an endless supply of white liquid in it. And you're going to start to pour this white liquid into that yucky colour that you want to get rid of. Just gently pour it in. So just see in your mind the white liquid being poured from the jug into the cauldron. Stir it round with your stirrer, and you'll see the colour start to change. Start to become diluted with the white, the bright white. Keep on pouring it in and stirring it round. See the colour change. And as you see the colour change, start to feel a change in the way you feel. Keep on pouring the bright white in and keep on stirring it around until all you can see in the cauldron is just bright white. All of the colour is gone. Look down and see that white. Keep on havening. Just keep on breathing gently. Just stay nice and relaxed. So next, you're going to think of a colour that represents joy, peace, calm, the beautifulness that you want inside your body. So think of a colour that represents this. It can be any colour you like. And you've got that in the second jug. And pour that colour into the bright white and see the colour change to whatever colour you feel represents calm, peace, joy, safety. Pour it into the cauldron and stir it all up with your stirrer. Now what I want you to do, look down and see that colour. All of the first colour's gone. Now the white's gone. All you see is your beautiful colour. What we're going to do now, we're going to put the stirrer down and we're going to turn the cauldron upside down above our head. It's not liquid anymore, it's like a gas. This is magic. You're going to tip that colour over your head, and I want you to feel it going all the way through your body. Drink it in, breathe it in. Breathe it in, the beautifulness of the calm, the peace, the the safety and see it and feel the warmth of it going right through your body, through your head, your neck, down your torso, all the way down to your hips. Feel it going down both arms, into each finger. Feel the tingling and the warmth of this beautiful colour representing joy, peace, calm, safety. Feel it tingling in your fingers. Send it all the way down your legs, to your feet, to your toes. And feel the emotion that you're sending. You've popped back in. And then feel the intensity double, and feel it double again, and feel it double again, and really experience and feel that warmth, that tingling, that calmness, safety, peace, and joy. And just when you're ready, I just want you to take 2 big breaths in and out. Just a big breath in and sigh out. And a second big breath in, and then just sigh out. And just whenever you're ready, open your eyes and just rest your hands. And just have a little look at the thing that made you feel whatever you felt. And see if you feel different. Feel those delta waves and all the other goodies.
Thank you, Christine.
Back over to Dee.
Well, that actually concludes our presentation today. I don't know if anyone would feel happy to share how they feel after doing either of those exercises. You can put it in the chat, or put your hand up, or just unmute yourselves and speak. You're welcome to, or there's no pressure either. It's but you know, our greatest wish was that we could share a little bit of joy and peace and calm today, and I hope that we've done that. Oh, Jackie.
Oh, I'd like to share. I'm very familiar with Havening. I love it. And I was yawning quite a bit. I felt I was
that's a good sign.
Yeah,
that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. I noticed that actually. I was going to say to you that is a sign that it's really working deeply for you.
Yeah. So I always know when I do a yawn or a release, you know, tears or whatever it is, maybe a wee burp sometimes, that it's doing a release. So and I felt I just sort of had quite tight shoulders, and now even physically I feel my shoulders aren't tight anymore. So
awesome.
no, I loved it. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
So does anyone have any questions?
We've got some lovely shares. I'm just going to read them out so that those can hear them on recording. So inspired and calm, a little residual stress, and imagine that will continue to move out. Is it normal to have a bit of a cry?
Yep, absolutely.
And that was incredible. I feel very soft and calm. Thank you so much. I love the feeling of the touch. And I feel calm and happy. Also a bit tired. Loved it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Really common too.
Thank you for embracing it and joining in. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, Ellie.
Sorry, I couldn't find the hand up.
That's fine.
I feel much calmer, centered, and less troubled by the thing.
Brilliant. That's the way. This is what it does. Yeah. It's so magical.
I wondered about the training. I've had a little bit of experience with havening. I've got a friend who's a practitioner and who taught us, and I'd like to just use it more in my life. You know, it just didn't occur to me when the thing was happening in my mind this morning in response to an email. do some havening.
Interesting.
I wondered about the training,
So Ellie,
what it took to train.
yeah, that would be a great share.
Yeah, we were there. You can call us anytime, by the way. Contact us anytime if you want to talk more about it. But we went to Raglan for a week. We were there doing the theory for a week, and which was incredible. We were so excited, we were nearly bouncing off the walls. And it really very inspiring, beautiful time. And then we had to get the cases. So I said that took about 6 months to get all of the cases, where there's a little bit of, you write them up, there's a little bit of toing and froing with Robin, that we took training with Robin Youngson, who was an anaesthetist, an awesome anaesthetist actually was, that we used to work with. So we sort of all already knew him a little bit. So getting those cases is really amazing learning. And then there's the science exam.
Sorry, Christine, just to interrupt. What she means by getting the cases is that we then had to go out and treat 30 people each.
Yeah.
And do a session with people who were willing, knowing that we were fledglings, and that we had to go out and find people who were willing to have some havening.
Which was, we didn't have any trouble, and we on purpose we made sure that we were well outside of our comfort zone, and we didn't just work with people that were pregnant. We worked with all sorts of people, all ages, all sorts of trauma, fear, phobias, anxiety, women, men, kids, teenagers. We on purpose made sure that we reached really broadly, which was really, really good for the learning. But it's been incredible. And if you ever want any more information, just get in touch. There's our website there, but we on our website you'll find our mobile numbers and also our email addresses. We're really happy to talk.
And there's a science exam as well. And then you have to pay havening.org. And international
the payment that's that bit's
the most painful,
but it's worth it. Yeah, totally worth it.
The beautiful thing too, also Kamaya from Hart Place Hospital Board is now certified to train, so she's going to be doing it online, so people won't actually have to go to Raglan if that's a challenge for them. So there's that option too.
And the training online tends to be 2 days. For what I've seen with other trainers, whereas the time in Raglan is a week, so it's a very different time commitment, and it cost about $4,000 to train. But we were allowed, you can pay it off. You don't have to come up with the money all at once.
And Hart Place Hospital has referred several people from the frontline through to Dee and Christine as well. So we've had some funding there, and then we also refer those who self-fund as well. So I think Robin's got her name. Robin's got her
Hi.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, is my video awful?
No, we can see her on.
You can see me? I just thank you so much. It was so good. It was just something that was really needed for me today with what's going on in my life. And I really appreciate the introduction. I've always been interested in havening. I'm a psychiatrist, but I'm also a yin yoga teacher and mindful self-compassion teacher. And so I really, I love the neuroscience behind all of this. And I was thinking about doing some EMDR because of all the people that I see in private with trauma-based stuff. But I'm kind of quite interested in going along this route and doing some further training, because I just think it would be so fantastic.
Absolutely, and especially in your field. I mean, you would be able to use it so readily, alongside all of your other skills. It would be incredible.
Absolutely. And the practitioners, the havening practitioners that we know who also are trained in EMDR, they find that they default to havening more because they find it faster.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting journey for them. And so there are quite a few psychiatrists, psychologists, and psychotherapists all use it. around the world, but there are
Yeah.
only 1,000 of us certified Havening practitioners worldwide at the moment. So it's still in its infancy, but growing.
It
Again,
just
if you want to connect,
makes so
Robin,
much sense. Yeah, no, it makes so much sense. Like,
It's really logical. Yeah.
it really does make sense, doesn't it? It really does. And although it looks like it's just, you know, a bit of a moving hug and a bit of talking, there's such a solid science underneath it, which really makes it feel very credible. But when you've seen it work as well, it's just absolutely incredible, really is. And it brings, actually, what surprised me is it's brought a massive joy to my life that I didn't expect to get. I expected to get the skill and be able to work with people, which I wanted to do. I didn't expect to be able to have that joy. It really is amazing, and to feel so amazing myself having done it. I was worried that it would drain me of everything. It doesn't. It energizes you. It's amazing. So yeah, it's really quite phenomenal. And if you ever want to talk more, we're really, really happy to connect. You know, just email, phone. All our details are in on our website. We're really happy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will be in touch, definitely.
Yeah.
I just realised I spelt our website incorrectly.
Oh yeah, we've got yeah.
You can't be a great midwife and a great healer and a great speller.
Definitely a rush job.
Yeah. Hey, Laurie's got her hand up too. I'm just really conscious I want to keep this to as close to our time.
Sure. Laurie.
Yeah, so I won't talk much.
No,
it was so I'm a primary mental health nurse practitioner, and around COVID, a video came out on havening for healthcare providers. Have you seen that? And it was just so that was my brief introduction to havening. And so I was using that, and I use it still at the beginning of a session, just to help both the client and myself.
Brilliant.
It just, but I am in no way, obviously, I just thought it's such a brief little tool to kind of get started and to start the therapy session. So I just thought I would share that.
Fantastic. That's
Again, it's instinctive, isn't it? It's instinctive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether you're trained or not.
It just kind of gets everyone feeling safe in that space, and then prepares them to do some deeper work.
For sure.
Brilliant.
One of our senior colleagues who lives in Sweden, whose name is Ulf, he starts his session by telling people it is actually physically impossible for your brain to have a panic attack while your hands are moving. And I just think that's such a gem. And this is a man who does incredible trauma work in places like the Congo, looking after refugees, and he uses music with his havening. But I just think it's fascinating that your brain actually won't allow you to have a panic attack while you are stimulating the C-tactile fibers in your hands. All day.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much, Dee and Christine. They said that they were nervous before, but they were awesome. You're amazing. And we'll be able to share this video, and people can reach out to either myself at Heart Place Hospital or to the woman here at Willow Therapy. So thank you so much. And we'll look forward to our next lunchtime sharing at Heart Place Hospital.
Thank you, everyone. So lovely to see you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care.